This episode of the Linux Action Show is brought to you by DigitalOcean and by Ting. Go to last.ting.com and save $25 off your first device or your first month of service. Welcome to Linux Action Show, episode 348. My name is Chris.
My name is Matt.
Hey, Matt, good morning to you.
Good morning.
Hey, should I tell everybody, about the big show coming up today?
Definitely.
Okay, all right. Well, so there's this distribution out there. You've probably heard of it. It's called Deepin Linux. And at first, I was letting it pass me by, but I was encouraged to check it out. And man, am I glad we did. Matt and I installed it, and we were like, whoa, we've got to talk about Deepin Linux. It's Linux, but not like you know it at all.
No.
So stay tuned for that review in the second half of the show. In the news segment, we're going to talk about that Steam bug you probably heard about.
Boy.
It's wiping out people's home folders. This great news for the Creative Project. Xenonic has a new release and a bunch of other things. Plus, in the feedback segment, we've got some interesting tidbits for you. And Matt, as always, it is our picks. Yeah, should we start with our runs?
Let's rock and roll, yeah.
Okay, so have you heard of the Mars One project?
I have.
Yeah, okay, so for those of you who are not as hip like Matt, the Mars One project is essentially your opportunity to leave it all behind and go to the surface of Mars to die.
So wait, you haven't already signed up for this?
Well, I thought about it. Heather,
after the honeymoon was over, man, I got my signature right up on that thing.
So this is essentially a working project, and it's the next giant leap forward for mankind. They're going to go set up a human settlement on Mars. It is a one-way trip. Starting in 2024. The first unmanned mission, they say, is going to be launched in 2018.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Okay, so 2018 is basically the kind of
that's really
getting
soon.
their foot in the water, and then 2024 is when it's actually going to.
So obviously, if you're going to have a human settlement on Mars that soon, you have got to get to work right away. And in order to get that kind of work done, in order to have that kind of level of uptime and efficiency, you got to run Linux. The Mars One project runs Linux, and this was sent into the show. We're going to have to be quick-eyed because this is a documentary from Time Magazine, and we're just going to get flashes of Linux, man. We'll have to see if we can spot it. Are you ready?
Okay.
All right, prepare your. Here we go. Oh, wait for it. And there it is. All right, so that looks like a ThinkPad.
Oh, yeah.
So that's a Mars One office. So here we are in the Mars One office. Looks like a ThinkPad with an external keyboard hooked up to it. I think that's a ThinkPad. Looks like this is Lenovo right there.
Yeah,
that looks
I
like
think so.
That looks like the Unity launcher, but I think we need to zoom in. We need to zoom in and enhance. So we've also got a second shot here, Matt. Let's see what we get.
Are talking about doing this.
Yeah,
That looks like Chrome, right? Right there. That looks like
I
Chrome.
think so.
Oh no, it's his Samsung. It's not a Lenovo. It's his Samsung.
Okay.
All right. So we've. All right. Now we got one more, Matt. We're going to zoom in on one more here and see if we can get a good shot of it.
We don't have the technology to go back. Already people are uploading their application movies to our website.
Oh, that's definitely Unity. Look at that.
Oh, yeah.
He's got
see it on the left.
Skype.
On the left,
and that's Firefox. That's Firefox.
Yep. Oh, of course it is.
Yeah, that's Firefox there. There's
Space people
Thunderbird.
don't use Chrome.
There's Skype in the launcher. Yeah, that's definitely. And there's the Ubuntu Software Center. And Ubuntu 1, too, still in his
Wow. Well,
launcher.
I bet you the uploads on that's going to be a real bear when you get up on Mars.
Yeah. So let's see if we get anything else. So they've had 78,000 applications go to Mars so far.
It's really fun to see people explaining why they want to leave everything they have here on Earth and start a new life on Mars.
I can be patient.
That's crazy.
Wow. And I would hate to be the IT guy there because, you think about it. They're not going to be calling home for tech support.
Right.
It's you.
That's a hell of a service call.
Wow. Because, no.
Yikes. I didn't even think about that, Matt. I didn't even think about that.
Really burn. It's like, you need an ISO of what now? And then server and updates. There's a lot. Although I guess you don't have to really worry about hacks, dude.
I feel good though that it's a lot of Linux in there. That the people working on this Mars One thing are run Linux. This could be the ultimate reality TV series.
Well. And if it could end up being like the real world in space, but
that's what I mean. I would watch that because it's in space, man.
It would be wild, but it's like, what if you get up there and you find out everyone there is just like a bag of dicks? They're all jerks, and you're stuck up there by yourself, and you're thinking, okay, I'm the only one that I can get along with, and think of all the regret because you want to know who you're going to be living with. You're with these people forever.
Yeah, you're going to be using Skype a lot, and it's not going to be a very fast connection.
Yeah, the latency might be a little tight.
You know what you could do? You could set up your own Jitsi server on our sponsor, DigitalOcean. Head over to DigitalOcean.com right now. And Matt, guess what?
Yeah, oh my
it
goodness.
finally happened. DigitalOcean, sponsor of the Linux Action Show, has added, you won't believe it, ladies and gentlemen, but it is true, free BSD support. And I think Alan already ran over there and set himself up a free
really
BSD
nice.
server.
Nice.
There's a free BSD. We've talked about it a lot on the show, and this is kind of a great way to get a chance to go experiment with it and see if there's something you could do. Because you go over to the DigitalOcean website and go create a droplet. You get started in less than a minute. DigitalOcean is super fast to get started. It's really easy and straightforward. So even if you're not really comfortable with FreeBSD, the process of getting this image started is going to be easy enough for you. Wow. You can get started in less than a minute, too. And for only $5 a month, you can pick up a rig with 512 megabytes of RAM, a 20 gigabyte SSD, one CPU, or a terabyte of transfer, or with a terabyte of transfer. And this pricing plans, the way they work, it's structured super easy. You can just move right up to the next tier, which I've just done recently to give myself a little more room on my own cloud instance. I love it. And you can go over there right now. It starts at only $5 a month, but we've got a special promo code. It's the brand new promo code for the 2015 year, LAS Digital, LAS 20, or for all of 2015, LAS Digital. And if you're watching the video version right now, I'm showing the great write-up they did on how they got FreeBSD to work on the DigitalOcean system. DigitalOcean uses Linux.
And I like the description they did because they kind of explain what it is, why you care, how you use it. It's really good stuff.
Yeah, and so it's cool how they got FreeBSD working with KVM and the systems and changes they've made to it. It's very fascinating write-up. You can go over there and read that on their site too. But go over to DigitalOcean right now, and while you're there, remember our promo code, LAS Digital, LAS Digital. LAS Digital, I like it.
LAS Digital.
And you can get a $10 credit. You can try out that $5 rig 2 months for absolutely free. They've got data centers in New York, San Francisco, Singapore, Amsterdam, London. And their interface is intuitive, and the control panel is really, really great. Like I said, even if you're not a FreeBSD expert, you're going to get up and going in no time. And LAS Digital will get you the $5 rig 2 months for free. No credit card needed. Just apply it to your account. Of course, they've got all other distributions you'd probably want as well. LAS Digital over at DigitalOcean.com. Go try them out. Try out that super intuitive control panel. Take advantage of that straightforward API with lots of apps built for it. And finally, now you can play with FreeBSD. FreeBSD and CoreOS are some of their more recent additions. And that's about as awesome as you can get. I think that's really cool. I personally am really stoked about CoreOS. Yeah. I think DigitalOcean's a great way to play with that
I think it's going to be amazing. And what a great place a safe learning environment to get in there and just kind of experiment.
Because you got those snapshots, you got all that stuff.
Hey, look, I broke it. Don't care.
Yeah.
Put it back,
So it's LAS Digital. That's our promo code, and that's all lowercase. LAS Digital over at DigitalOcean.com. And a big thanks to DigitalOcean for sponsoring Linux Action Show. And congratulations, you guys, on adding the free BSD support. That's freaking cool.
That is huge.
You add it with all the other stuff, and now there's just like nothing I can't do up there. I'm really excited about it. DigitalOcean.com. Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to show my age a little bit with this app pick here, but I found a really cool open source game for the Linux desktop. It's called Star Fox, F-A-U-X, Star Fox. Oh. It's a remake of Star Fox for the SNES. It's a total remake. It's kind of early days right now, and it's not too hard to get going. You just install some dependencies, you download the zip, a quick make command, Bob's your uncle, if I can talk, and you're good to go. So anyways, I have it right here.
Oh, all right.
And I'll give you a quick demo. I've already made it for because it's like baking.
Oh, wow, that is fun.
Yeah, so it starts up, and so you use the IK keys to select, and so I can move up and down using I and K.
Okay.
And I'll hit spacebar here to select once I have it. Oh. Now, there's no sound yet that I don't hear any sound.
Okay.
And the WASD is your kind of controls here, but then you also have motion controls up here, and then spacebar to shoot.
Oh, I'd play this.
Yeah, it's kind of like
very Star Foxy.
Yeah, exactly. You need to go get your own 8-bit music, I guess. They're not including that, and I really suck at this
Headphones,
game.
man. Just problem solved.
Yeah. So it's early days, but if you remember the old Star Fox from Super Nintendo, it might bring back some great memories. And I only have one buddy, and it's definitely a little glitchy. But
right.
I don't know.
It's kind of cool, and the price is right. I mean, just go for it.
I honestly sometimes load up SNES emulators just to play Star Fox.
Exactly right.
So the fact that I have this now, it gets close enough. It's a little jumpy. I don't know.
It's not bad.
Yeah.
It's not bad.
So you can check it out. I'll have a link in the show notes, and it is Star Fox.
Star Fox.
F-A.
It's almost like Starfo.
Starfo. Yeah.
Starfo. Star Fox.
Starfo. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's very fun. Okay, and then for those of you who've been writing in and asking for a simple way to get started with a firewall, I came across an interesting firewall. And if you can figure out, dear listener, how I found this firewall, you will get all of the internet points in Linux Unplugged on Tuesday. But you'll have to, maybe leave in a comment in the subreddit, in the feedback thread for this episode. If you can piece together how I found this app pick this week, this spotlight, then you get an internet cookie. So how do you think we're going to say this one, Matt? Dewan? Douane. What do you think? Chat room?
Sure.
See,
it's
what
probably it looks almost French or something. I don't know.
What I have stuck in my head is Devwan, right? And now I see that, and now I'm all messed up.
There's no V, yeah.
No, there's no V. I know. Dwayne.
No, definitely not Dwayne. But
Dwayne. Chat room says Dwayne. They're going.
Really?
Chat room, yeah, they're saying Dwayne.
Okay, whatever.
Yeah. All right. Well,
Dwayne.
anyway,
Okay, that's fair.
we'll talk about Dwayne here.
I mean, I can see it if the U's in a different spot. I guess. Yeah, I do.
The idea is this is not maybe a firewall for your more technical user. This is a firewall for the family member you got to run Linux. It's setting up a firewall is as simple as answering a question. As soon as you have access to the network, applications try to send information. This will come up and say, hey, would you like this application to be able to get out to the net? Oh, wow. This is really handy, too, to kind of try to get an idea of what's talking.
Oh, that's like what you would get in Windows or whatever, where it's all popping up. Zone alarm
there is something like that for the Mac, too. I can't remember the name. But
yeah.
And then you get one dashboard. The control panel here allows you to stop and start the firewall, enable, disable at boot, things like that. Look, this UI, right?
I like the fact that if it's nagging me, that's really good because a lot of times I don't think to look, I don't check.
Right, and after you would run it for a little bit, you would sort of train it, and it wouldn't be a nag so much. But I think for some folks, it's really good to know if something's going out and talking to the net that they didn't know.
Well, it could even be
educational,
educational, really.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Very interesting.
Yeah. So
I like that.
there you go, and I'll have a link in the show notes. It's at DuaneApp.com, DOUANE app.
Yeah, it definitely feels French. That's cool though. I like it.
Go on. Yeah. And you get a little idea of like when Spotify is talking home or something like that.
Right.
What's it doing? Why is it connecting to that server?
Why is it doing things?
Why is it doing that?
What's going on?
Hey, if you heard us mention a pick and you wanted to go find it, just a quick reminder, jupiterbroadcasting.com/lastpicks has our Runs Linux, our desktops, and the spotlights. What I just did was a spotlight, and then before that was the desktop, and before that was a Run Linux. That's the formula, and you can find the previous picks over at jupiterbroadcasting.com/lastpicks. And here's why I know I need to say that, because I'm still getting Telegram messages from a lot of you asking me, hey, what was that app you picked 13 episodes ago? Like I even remember.
Dear lazy webs.
Yeah.
Right? I mean,
yeah. Stop doing that and just go to jupiterbroadcasting.com/lastpicks and you will find all of
So how did your Telegram thing end up getting out? Like, what was the...
I'm the dumbass that just said it in the show.
Oh, no.
No,
I just have a bad time. Yeah.
Well, I didn't think people would use it for app pick clarifications.
Yeah, they're going to do it just, I talk to Chris. You know, I mean, it's going to happen. So.
I guess, right?
Yeah.
So that's why I'm thankful Rotten Corpus made, jupiterbroadcasting.com/lastpicks. Oh, and of course, as Imacom points out in the chat room all the time as well. That I'm used to.
That's the chat room's fine.
That's old bag now. I'm not. That's not unusual at all. All right, Matt. Let's do the news.
It's the news. This episode is brought to you by
Ting.com, Matt. Ting is mobile that makes sense. Ting is my mobile service provider and Matt's mobile service provider. Mine's hooked up to my Arch rig upstairs right now. I got a Nexus 5 and Matt's got a Note on the Ting network. I think we've been... Man, you've got to be coming well over a year now.
Easily, yeah.
You might
probably
be...
a touch over, I think.
Or maybe a year and 6 or something?
Yeah, a year and 4, I think. Yeah. I'd have to look, but
okay. And I'm on my 2-year mark now as a Ting customer. I'll tell you why I love it. It's... only what I use is all I have to pay. That's genius. No contract, and I love that, and no early termination fee because there's no contract. But really what I love is just the flat $6 for my line and then my usage on top of that. I know how to make phone calls like over Wi-Fi.
Exactly. I have to say my bill's like 20 something.
Yeah.
It's no
problem for me at all. So that's what my route is I just prefer to use like as minimal minutes as possible, and I make that work. Some months when I have more minutes, then I just pay for it and I just use it and pay for it.
Boom.
I love that. So go over to last.ting.com right now. Last.ting.com. Go check out the Ting offerings. And in February, they're going to be adding GSM support. That's going to be pretty cool.
That's going to be huge.
I've got...
really think about how big that really is.
I've got the Nexus 5, and it's going to be able to do CDMA and GSM, and that's going to be super slick for like going to conferences and stuff like that. And it's all going to be managed using Ting's awesome dashboard, and they have no-hold customer service, 1-855-TING-FTW. You can call them anytime between 8 a.m. or 8 p.m. East Coast time, and a real human being answers the phone. And they've got apps to manage your phone. They've got tons of great phones to pick from. I've singled out my Nexus 5 here, $349, no contract. Ooh. You just own it outright. It's your device. Just pay for what you use. And you want to turn on hotspot and tethering, you can do that with Ting. When I have from time to time Comcast go out here at the studio, we've literally just turned on the tethering or the hotspot, the Wi-Fi hotspot on my Nexus 5. Added our laptops to it and been able to go on with show prep while Comcast gets their crap figured out. A couple of weeks ago, like it was, I think 2 weeks ago.
Sounds right.
Frontier turned off the internet service to my house.
It's a
for
feature.
Fios. Yeah.
They'll say, hey, turn that off for you.
They turned off my Fios, and I didn't have internet access. Well, I have a morning show I have to do. Like, I had to have internet access. Nexus 5 comes to the rescue. And I don't have to worry about violating my terms of service or going over a data cap or anything like that. And I love it. It's just stress-free. But one of the other things I love about Ting is they love Android, and they're into it. They're following things like Ubuntu Touch right now, which is
big
super
time.
cool.
That's going to be cool.
They have a Sailfish OS test group. It's all kinds of cool stuff they're always looking at. And because they're enthusiasts, they also love to pick great apps. So Kyra's here with an app pick, Matt. Are you ready?
Want to find useful tips and tricks from a do-it-yourself community? I'm Kyra, and this is Ting's App of the Week. Find step-by-step instructions for tons of neat projects created by contributors all around the world, and add your own. Whether a life hack, clever invention, delicious recipe, or a reno how-to, Instructables is a great resource for the modern DIY junkie. View featured Instructables, recent tutorials, or choose from a list of categories. You can also search for a specific how-to if you have an idea of what you're looking for. Save projects to your favorites, and follow the contributor. Tap the menu button to check out all of your faves. Posts from
Andrew would
contributors
love
you
this.
follow are displayed in the
is
far
really,
right
really
tab
handy.
of the main page. Create your own Instructable in the top right. Add some project info, and begin adding the step-by-step instructions necessary to create your masterpiece. Then, select a category and channel that relates to your project, along with a few keywords. You can also vote on and enter user-submitted contests directly from the app. Submit your own creations in different categories like homemade, environmental, and woodworking. Instructables is free and available on both Android and iOS. Both links are in the description below. Thanks for watching, and if you liked this video, make sure to subscribe to Ting for more weekly app reviews.
Love it. Imacon in the chat room says he's been using it for a year, and he says it's great. He thinks it's really cool.
I think it's a great way to manage it, and it'd be cool if you could do an Instructable for how to make bacon or something.
Oh, yeah.
That'd be kind of cool. And how to do it properly.
No doubt. Oh, something else I was going to point out, I just think this is a great way to go, is they also have the Netgear Zing. It's a Wi-Fi hotspot, tri-band LTE, OLED screen where you get your signal, how much data you've used, how many devices are connected, what your current IP address is, what the Wi-Fi password is to join. You can set it on the screen because it's a touch screen. This is like one of the nicest hotspots ever. $139, and you own it when you go to last.ting.com, and then you're only paying for the usage. $6 for the line. It's a $6 hotspot. $6 hotspot, and if you need to turn it off for a little while, you can even do that. This is such a great way to go because then you've got data on the go whenever you need to be online.
I like that. And it even tells you how much you're using, that's really slick.
Last.ting.com.
Nice.
And a big thanks to Ting for sponsoring the Linux Action Show.
Ooh, yeah.
Love it. Love my Nexus 5. It's like a great phone. So did you hear about this horrible Steam bug that's been going on?
All that home, all your stuff. Yeah, let's get rid of that for you.
Yeah.
Let's just get rid of that.
All right, let's open it up. Let's officially do a Valve update right here on the Linux Action Show. So it's a little bug that got caught.
Just a little bitty guy.
Moving the Steam folder on Linux is causing some users' file systems to be deleted, or at least what that user has access to. Users are reporting that attempting to move Steam folders, something that the installer doesn't allow you to set at the time of installation, is leading everything able to be deleted by the user to be recursively deleted from the root. First entered as a bug report by a GitHub user, he explained how he tried to move the directory somewhere else and symlink it to the original location. Ooh. In almost every use case under the sun, this usually works without too many problems. Unfortunately, a bug in Steam proceeded to delete everything it was able to on his computer, even the contents of his 3 terabyte external storage.
I can think of so many things wrong that this user did, but I'm going to just let that go.
Yeah, I mean, so
some of the stuff is just
there is a bug in a bash script that Steam has. Yeah. And another GitHub user says that he lost his entire home directory.
Ooh.
Yeah, by just starting steam.sh with steam_debug equals 1. A GitHub user, TCM1911, appears to have spotted the error. He says he found the issue on line 19 where he sees the mistake. Mm-hmm. However, as is the beauty with open source, the problem's already been isolated. Patches are already being issued. For the time being, though,
so
don't move it.
Fun fact, Steam said, hey, all you guys that talk about backing up all the time, we're going to help motivate you.
Yeah.
We're going to teach you the importance of, say, like not leaving your stuff attached. with your backup storage.
But man, you're a big fan of nuking paving and cleaning house from time to time.
I do, but I don't, it's like I have like backups on top of my backups,
Yeah.
and then I got backups for those backups. I have backups on every place but Mars.
You got to get some backups. You do.
And I mean, I take
I'll be
crazy
honest, though,
precautions. I can't afford to lose that data.
I out of all of the things that I would suspect would cause me to lose data, that would not be on my radar.
No, and it would bother me for about half an hour. Because then I'd be like, oh, that was dumb. And then I'd go back and fix it because all my stuff's backed
lucky,
up.
yeah,
And
yeah.
it isn't attached. But that being said, yes, that is incredibly crappy. That would be annoying.
I don't think I would lose data, but I would be a little perturbed at the loss of
You
time.
lose some time, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I would
If
be
you're
concerned
losing
about.
data, you're doing it wrong. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah. If I was Leo Laporte, I would bust out a Carbonite ad right now.
It's for people
right.
who like to mess with computers.
But
Yeah,
we are
exactly.
Not. But
And,
seriously, go seriously back up your data, and that's real. I mean, see, the other thing that really kind of sucks for one of these guys is he might have been trying. Like one of the things that was deleted was a 3 terabyte external drive. That might have been like an external backup drive.
well, and it's like, okay, so you have data that literally will affect your lifestyle to lose. You have, say it with me, 2, possibly 3 backups. You don't have 1, you don't have 2, and they're not in the same thing. You want to be able to like light your house on fire and say, "Oh, my data's safe." I don't care. You need to have really, mitigate that out.
Actually, I do have a backup I would recommend. The chat room reminded me of
Yep.
it. They disclaimer, are a sponsor of BSD Now. They don't sponsor anywhere else, but just BSD Now. And so you can go to tarsnap.com/BSD Now. Tarsnap is backup you can trust. Not only do we know the people who make it,
Right.
but we know the technology they use, and Alan's looked into it extensively as well. And it's a great backup system for Unix and Linux users. So if you are interested and it would work for personal or enterprise, tarsnap.com/BSD Now. Friends of the network for sure. I don't get a dime for saying that, but I would still recommend them either
And
way.
I love that. Backups for the truly paranoid. And that's me.
Yeah, Tarsnap is a secure online backup service for BSD, Linux, OS X, Minix, Open Indiana, Cygwin, and probably many other Unix-like operating systems. The Tarsnap client code provides flexible and powerful command line interface which can be used directly or via shell scripts. It does not support Windows right now except for Cygwin.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Who wants backup Windows?
Yeah, $5 deposit and you get started in about 5 minutes.
Nice.
It's really cool. It's super cheap too, as Rikai points out. For those of you not watching the video version, it's 25 cents a gigabyte for storage a month, and 25 cents a gigabyte, I think, for transfer. So it's a really good. Forget the deal. Let's see, I'm looking. He says on average, many users pay for several terabytes. Pay less than $10 a month.
Oh, that's just a no-brainer. And Alan's looked at it. So, I mean, it's good stuff, right?
Yeah, he uses it.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, they've interviewed him on BSD Now, too. So, anyway, there you go. tarsnap.com/BSD Now.
Good stuff.
All right, so that's the Steam. Oh, boy, that's funny how we got into a whole backup thing.
Right,
But
well,
really, that's your only mitigation against bugs because bugs happen. It's unfortunate that one happened.
It is, but I think it needed to wake people up because folks get comfortable.
How about some good news out of Paris?
Yeah.
Goodbye, Photoshop. Hello, Carita.
Hello.
Yeah, this is a university in Paris. The Art and Technology of Image department at the University of Paris 8 is switching to Carita this year. The department has the double aim of to train students both on graphical software like 2D, 3D, VFX, and compositing to code their own, like with Python, C#, C++. That's a pretty big
That's
goal.
huge.
So until recently, the classes used only Adobe Photoshop. Because of inadequate support from the company's department, they decided to replace that. Last November, they invited out the Carita folks to do a presentation and talk about the switch. The 4-hour-long demo covered almost all of the interface. And Matt, I was inspired.
Oh, no. Okay.
So I installed Carita, and I thought I would give the audience a little demo.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so
God, I haven't looked at Carita
I
in
decided
forever.
to do a comic here in Carita.
Oh, wow.
And so this
That's
here
some HD
is-
stuff going
It's a
on.
nice sunny day.
Yeah.
This is a girl, and this is
Yes,
a girl and a
it is.
boy, and they go couch shopping. That's not a couch yet.
That's a neat couch.
That's where I stopped. I stopped right there.
Okay.
But that's what I was working on. And that's this. So
Yeah.
this is Carita's quite nice. I kid, but it's actually a fantastic program, and it's been getting a lot of recognition lately. And it is more. It's not exactly a one-to-one. It's not like GIMP. It's more
Right.
for more like this kind of art, this kind of stuff. Not so much for like the photo touch-up, the photo work kind of stuff.
Okay, so if you want to actually do a frame-by-frame comic or something like that, this would be
Yeah.
a good way to do it.
Yeah,
All
oh,
right.
for sure. For sure. Congratulations to the Creative Project. And I would love to see more schools go this route because,
That'd be cool.
like they said, one of their goals is to also work from a code perspective, and open source is such an opportunity for that. Carita is slick. If you haven't checked it out in a while, it's worth a spin. Go make yourself. You might make the next big famous internet comic. I was working on it.
That could have been cool.
Yeah, turns out couch shopping, though, not that compelling of a comment.
No, and it apparently turns into little swirly deals.
Well, I'm not that good at making comments either. Hey, a great open source first-person shooter. We talk about Steam games a lot. How about we talk about an open source game? Xonotic 0.8 has been released. Lots of goodies in the new release. We've been talking to the developers, too, about lining them up for maybe like a Let's Play on the Faux Show coming up really soon.
Great.
Yeah, so we might be doing that. If all our things align, we might be doing that next Sunday on the Faux Show as a Let's Play with the Xonotic developers. So Xonotic is a great open source first-person shooter. They've got 3 new Capture the Flag maps, which are really slick looking. I think that's a great achievement because I love Capture the Flag.
Yes.
They also have a massive amounts of new sounds for the game, including entire new tracks, one called X-Force. A wonderful way to add variety to your server now. You can have a vote screen, so users can vote on the next map choice now at the loading screen.
Very cool. It kind of scratches that Unreal Tournament itch that some of you may have.
And number one, the biggest thing is they're now using SDL version 2, which means you're going to get all of the goodies that SDL version 2 has. If you've had problems with the Xonotic in the past when you have multi-monitors, things like that.
Oh, thank goodness. That's cool.
Yep.
That's cool.
They've rebalanced a lot of the physics weapons. They've also introduced a new weapon. It's called the Arc, I think. I'm looking for the name of it. It looks like, the Arc, which is like a lightning gun.
Nice.
Yeah. And here's a little, bringing up a close-up of it. Yeah, so there's the 3 new Capture the Flag maps. They look really fun. I like
yeah, I'd play that.
Yeah. So we might do a Let's Play with the developer next Sunday on the Faux Show. So congratulations to the Xonotic folks. There was a time when the Jupiter Broadcasting Xonotic server was the most popular one in the world.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I don't think that's near the case at all anymore.
Well, it hasn't really been promoted or used or whatnot.
That's true.
Yeah,
That's
that
true.
could be it.
But stay tuned. We'll have further coverage of that. In the meantime, that is sort of like it's like this after CES sort of news slump. Mm-hmm. So there's some things to catch up, like
definitely.
Open source projects
and you kind of work with what you have, sure.
Yeah. All right, Matt. Well, that's all the news for this week. We're about to take a look at Deepin 2014, but don't let the name put you off. They actually just had a release towards the end of December, and this is Linux like you have literally never seen it before. It's definitely worth a look. First, though, I want to tell you about our segment sponsor, System76. Woo! Head over to System76.com right now. Don't wait. Get yourself a rig built, designed, born to run Linux. Stop fighting with your stupid hardware and get to play with your Linux. System76 has desktops, laptops, and servers designed for Ubuntu, and they're going to support that Ubuntu for the life of the install, which is like, I don't even know how they do that. It's
I don't either, but
it's like forever ever.
Like, okay.
So go to System76.com right now. Check out like a great rig for some Steam gaming, or maybe you want something portable. They have a great lineup over there. This review this week was done on a System76 rig. In fact, a Bonobo, as a matter of fact. Lots of great machines, and that Ultra Pro for ultimate portability all the way up to the Bonobo, and of course their desktops. And then whenever you have to get repair, you send it right there, and they work on it in the US of A. System76.com, longtime supporters of Linux Action Show, contributors to the Linux ecosystem, and creators of great machines. Tell them Linux Action Show sent you. Get yourself something great. System76.com. So Deepin Linux, Matt. Speaking of the hardware, maybe I'll start there. I'll pull up the they have like this. Deepin Linux has this information control bar that comes up along the side, and this is the 2014 edition that we're looking at right here. 2014.2. I have it on a Bonobo Extreme with 16 gigabytes of RAM and a Core i7-4900MQ CPU, clocked at 2.8 gigahertz. 64-bit install, as you probably would expect. So for those of you who like to compare this to other distributions, you might be wondering, okay, where does Deepin fit in with all of this? It's based on Ubuntu 14.04 long-term support, so it's got a great foundation there. Their desktop environment, though, is of their own creation. And I think maybe we'll start here.
I would start
this
there,
is the biggest piece, right?
That was really kind of where it nailed me. It's like,
the Deepin desktop environment. And it's not like anything you've seen before because they wrote it themselves. It's similar to other projects. In fact, early in Deepin's history, they did try to use like GNOME 3 and stuff like that. The DDE is based on HTML5. It also uses a little bit of QML up in this business and the Go language for different components. The core components of the DDE include the desktop itself, the brand new launcher, which you're looking at right now if you're watching the video version, and the dock at the bottom, as well as the control center. And we'll walk you through each of these. So this is the launcher screen. It's kind of similar to GNOME's overview, but I like the way you can break it out into individual categories.
This is what sold me. It's like all the stuff that other desktops are doing, but it's doing it well.
Yeah,
it's doing it really
very
well.
easy to navigate, to jump through things, and you can get to it just by flicking your mouse up in the corner, or by tapping the super key, it pulls it up. And of course, once it's up, you can just start typing immediately. And once it gets close to what you want, you hit enter just like you would expect.
And its default icon set, it was really surprisingly good. I was really happy with it.
Yeah, it's unique, right?
Installation was smooth, really smooth.
Yeah.
Really pretty too.
So the whole aesthetic you're seeing right here with the Deepin desktop environment is really extended from the installation. And that's why I didn't really think to start with the installation, because it has a very sort of coherent feeling throughout. It's the best installer I've ever done.
Oh, easily. And even its lock screen was a bit compelling.
It's also the fastest install I've ever done.
It was unbelievably quick.
Yeah, I was surprised when the installation was done that I was already over. And when you first boot the system, you're greeted with a graphical login manager that the stars are flying in space. Animated stars.
You are warp speed, man. You're just like you're flying.
So that's your first, before you get logged in, because you got to log in with your password. That's your first experience. You're like, oh, this is nothing like I've ever seen before. And when it boots up, the graphical animation is the Deepin logo filling with water.
And it's very flowy.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't feel jerky or flickery or anything. It's really pretty.
Now, the reason why you're getting some of this whiz-bang effect is they are actually using Compiz on the back end. And I don't know if that's like a long-term... I think I read that they plan to transition away from that, but they are using Compiz. So then once you get back to the Deepin desktop environment, I want to spend a little time with the control center, because there isn't a GNOME control panel or a Unity control center. All your configuration is done right here with this slide-out bar that comes on the right-hand side of your screen. Everything is stacked vertically down here. Here's your user account controls right here. I expand it out. I can manage my picture. I could change myself to a horse, for example. And if it tucks away, but you can just go back there and kind of nudge the side. Here's my display settings. Sometimes that causes my display to crash, so I'll be careful. Oh, and it did.
Oh, boy. Oh, there we go.
That's okay. So that's a quick recovery. So this is probably a good point to mention. There are some bugs, like this one. So what happened there is I have my displays mirrored, and I can't show you right now because my displays are broken. Right. But my displays are mirrored, and I do that so I can have my picture here on my screen, and I can also send a copy of my picture off to the capture machine. For some reason, when I view that area of the control center and then leave it, I don't know why this is, but when I leave that area, it causes like my X session or my whatever, something's happening.
Yeah,
NVIDIA driver's
it smells like it might be something with the driver and the actual tool itself. It's saying, no, we would rather you use the NVIDIA stuff. We don't really want you using the other. It's
so I've had to avoid that. See, then I go back in the NVIDIA control panel and I fix it. So what all I have to do now is go back over and kind of nudge the corner. I'll avoid the display section, but here's all the default applications. I can set my default browser right here. Now think about this in the context of a new user to Linux. All this stuff is just exposed.
No new windows. No new windows. That's my biggest thing I love about this.
Right. You're not digging through a whole bunch of pop-up screens. I just slid this thing over from the side, and now I'm already able to set what my default browser is. Look how fast I can do this. Look how fast I can personalize this stuff. I mean, look how fast I can. Here's all my Wi-Fi networks available to me.
That was cool. I mean, that was like, wow.
Honestly, one of the best interfaces for setting my sound preferences right here, and I can go. You can see right here. I can bust out what my output is. It's very easy to see where my sound is going. It's going to the headphones jack, so I can send it to the mixer. But I could do the speakers if I wanted to. My output device is my built-in audio analog. Could be the NVIDIA HDMI, though, if I just click right here. Super simple to get this going. Setting up keyboard shortcuts, one click away. All this stuff is so easy to do. And the other thing that's really neat about it is they tie that stuff in with the dock. So down here in the dock, you can see there are no system tray icons per se, but there's this one little cluster icon that clusters all of the system tray icons into a singular icon on your dock. And then in there, you get the cluster of system tray icons. So I can right-click on the Chrome, or I can right-click on Steam in this little cluster right here.
That's great.
Here's the clock, right? And if I hover over the clock, I get a calendar. And if I click it, it brings up the main calendar. But here's where it gets really cool. Here's volume control. If I scroll my mouse wheel, it adjusts the volume of the machine. I can just scroll my mouse wheel over the icon in the dock. It's adjusting my system volume.
And the icon's actually, no, that's something I didn't try.
It's actually moving the icon, right?
Oh, that's wild.
And if I hover over it, I can see the device volume, but I could also, if each application was making audio, each application's audio levels are listed in this hover pop-up.
And that's the piece I liked, and I was actually playing with that.
You just hover the mouse right over the dock icon, and you get all your volume controls for all your apps. Here's your wireless signal information, so you can get that. It's really straightforward.
And Bluetooth. Yeah.
Yep, and Bluetooth. So that all it ties together. So they have a different approach to system icons than most desktop environments. And they embed the clock in there. They've also included like a really beautiful theme for the desktop environment that pulls in the GTK apps, like here's Files or Nautilus. Looks really nice at home on here. And Qt apps also look pretty good on here. Not great, but they look pretty good too. It's kind of a nice universal theme, and you can see here's my power controls down here.
Yeah, I was really happy with it. I couldn't believe how and how aesthetically pleasing it was out of the box. It's like I didn't feel like I needed to go change icons or needed to change wallpapers really.
Right. So that's the interface. That's the Deepin desktop environment, all sitting on top of Ubuntu 14.04. So you're going to get all of the stuff you get with Ubuntu 14.04 and just a slightly different desktop environment.
Right.
If Unity has gotten a little old for you and GNOME 3 isn't quite doing it, this might be something to try. I also tried out gaming because it's Ubuntu. Anything that works under Ubuntu is going to work under this. I felt totally arbitrary. Like this isn't my Phoronix open benchmark report here for you. In my loose impression, I've gamed on just about every distribution, every desktop environment on this laptop. I felt like perhaps my performance was slightly less under Deepin, but arbitrary.
Could be. Yeah.
You
got compositing and all that stuff.
I was coming from a Mate install, so I think that's not too surprising.
That would be
But everything played just fine. Let's talk though about the Deepin store.
Oh my gosh.
We got. I mean, this is
it's like why is this not being done on a? I mean, this is how it should look. I mean, I'm not saying it has to be exactly like this, but. As far as graphically speaking, wow.
Yeah, let's go so for example, you start up with a grid of really great, first of all, the apps they're picking are actually just really great apps.
Yeah, they're not crap. I mean, it's like, these are things I would use.
INX is a great system information. Warsaw, 0AD, Phonetic, there's Synapse. You love Synapse. You can also you can rank by download rank or hot apps. But take a look. Let's go to 0AD, right? You go to 0AD. Here's a screenshot of the application. You can read the description if you want. The definite downside to the Deepin store, and there's just nothing you can do about it, is a lot of the comments are in Chinese.
Oh yeah.
You can't read them.
That highlights a larger issue at
which
hand.
we will get to in just a moment.
Yes, absolutely.
But the software store itself is very nice. The upgrade process, managing your software, is done smoothly in here, just like in other software centers. In fact, because I knew I would end up installing all my updates, I went and I grabbed a screenshot to kind of give you an idea here. And I included it in the show notes. So if you're listening and you want to kind of get an idea of what this UI looks like, we threw a few screenshots embedded into the show notes for you audio listeners. So don't worry if you're not watching the video version. But when you first install, you get all your updates. You just go right into the software center. You apply all of them. You can set reminders if you want for some reason, which I thought was kind of funny.
Well, and what's cool is that it does it all in the same tool.
Yes.
It's not like you have a separate tool for updates and a separate tool for applications.
I'm loving that we're seeing more and more of that.
That's unification, definitely.
And also, just for watch. So let's say I want to install XNView, right? I go in here, I click this little button,
Don't you love that?
The little tux guy flies across the screen in the installation bucket.
Reminds me of Unity in that respect, and that's cool though.
Notice how I'm just going about my business now. I mean, now I'm going to go install Warsaw, and I'm not inputting my password, right? I'm just continuing to shop. Wow. The UI is not lagging down. It's still continuing to work. It's using apt in the background. I noticed this 360 Save for Linux is a really popular tool on here. It's like a system cleaning utility, which I've never even...
Yeah, there's some apps in there. I was kind of like, wow, that's interesting.
It's a different market, right? So sometimes they just... Like BleachBlit, which is like a go through and clean your system up. And
simple screen recorder available out of the box without having to add a PPA.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yep. Same with TeamViewer. And,
right?
WizNode is in there.
Like they get it.
Armorock is... Ardor right there, one-click install.
Right.
A lot of nice stuff. Some apps I've never really played with before because it's a different market, but then I got a chance to play with them, and they seem pretty nice.
Well, and you notice it's actually a one-click install. I mean, like it's like click, done, boom.
Yeah.
You don't care.
Yeah, in fact, but I don't need to download Warsaw. But there, so now I have XNView, and I can launch it if I want. And it also now shows up in my overview right here. It's cool. A very nice system. It for me, it's a little... I've run into a few bugs, and I've run into a few areas where, for me...
little candy cane too, I guess, a little bit.
Yeah, it's a little candy coated, that's for sure. Yeah. But you've noticed it too. There is definitely times where you go in here and you're like, oh, that's not. I can't even read this.
The screenshot I sent you. That's a great example.
Yeah, there's a language barrier sometimes. Like when you start, there's a really well done tutorial that walks you through using the UI, and you actually are manipulating settings in the UI, like you're creating folders and stuff. Like, for example, watch this. This is really cool. One of the things they have you do is you take this icon and you drag it over, and kind of like on a smartphone, it makes a folder like on a smartphone.
Which I was just like, this is kind of brilliant. I mean, like, why is this not?
Yeah, and then you have a little pop-down folder right there.
That's just good UI.
And they walk you through that in the tutorial. But the language that they use is sometimes, like both Matt and I, we got to a point where you're supposed to type Deepin into the keyboard.
Yeah, and its words were, we want you to go ahead and touch Deepin on your keyboard. Huh? And I'm looking, I was like, I don't have a Deepin on my keyboard. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
And then he said, it's type. It's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, it's supposed to type Deepin. It took us both like, what do you mean touch Deepin? What do you mean touch Deepin?
Okay.
What does that mean? Yeah.
That sounds a little iffy. So I wasn't really clear what they meant. So there are some issues like that for sure.
I've also had problems. Like here, I'll demonstrate for you here. So let's go into the file manager here, and I say I have these. I have a couple of videos in here, right? I've got an MKV, a WebM, and an MP4. And one of the things they are pretty proud about is they have a program called Deepin Music, which is nice.
Yeah.
This is Deepin Music. It's small. It's portable. You can right-click and manage it in the dock. Yeah, it's nice. Deepin Movie is another one they're kind of proud of. This I had a lot of problems with. Overall, like, see, right now it's even failing to start for me.
Oh, is it? Okay.
So, like, let's just go easy. Let's throw a WebM file at it, right? No crazy codec needed. I start it and you see it started there for just a second.
Oh, see,
and then
I had it playing okay for me.
Did you?
Yeah, on Intel.
See, I can do
Intel video was okay.
I can do the same in MPV.
Okay.
Good morning. It's Friday, January 16th. Seeing it starts just fine.
So maybe it's something going on in the background. I don't know.
So Deepin Movie was kind of a non-starter for me. I could never get Deepin Movie going, but Deepin Store and Deepin Music were fine, and of course the Deepin Launchers is pretty great.
Right.
And at the end of the day,
it's not bad. I mean, it's like I can. So for myself, I kind of found myself liking it. I felt weird about it because I was kind of like, I didn't necessarily want to be all on board with it. But it's kind of like, this is kind of cool.
Yeah, I was surprised. Is what it was. I was surprised. The release cycle of Deepin, it's changed. It's 4 times a year, including 2 new versions and 2 amended versions. For example, Deepin 2014.2 is the one we're on right now, and so it's got a little refinement, a little polished based on 1404. And it's overall a really pleasant. Everything is designed really, really well. Like, of course, I can't. I was going to show you one more thing, but it'll crash my display setting. So I should probably leave it at that. But everything is set up really designed really well. All the UI makes a lot of sense. It is the easiest to get in and configure your desktop. If this is a desktop environment you are setting up for somebody who's moving to Linux for the first time, no brainer. It's beautiful. The Software Center makes sense. The updates will be easy for them to manage, and all settings will be super straightforward for them to set. And it's based on 1404 Ubuntu, so it's going to be around for years for them, and they're really going to have no compatibility issues. Hands down, I think this might be one of the best sort of whiz-bang, like give them something flashy, try it out Linux distribution out there. Deepin Linux 2014.2 is incredible. Now, I'm not saying it's the best distro for all use cases.
No, but I think if you're at a kiosk or you're trying to show it off to people and you want something, people are saying, I want something a little more unified. There you go.
Yeah.
Just saying.
And I would pull up the RAM CPU usage, but it's, I guess one caveat I'll just say is if you've had a system, we've gotten some reports out there where like it just seems like Compiz and your computer never, ever get along. You're going to definitely want to try before you buy with Deepin. I had zero problems with the open source NVIDIA driver and the proprietary driver. I was even able to get some success under virtualization. I definitely noticed things kicked up a notch when I moved it to physical hardware.
You're right.
And putting on this Bonobo was a great way to sort of let it spread its wings and just enjoy it. So Deepin Linux 2014, a thumbs up, especially if you want something sort of fresh. Go experience it, because I think fundamentally what I walked away from it is there is unquestionably opportunity for all of the major distro makers to up the bar a lot. Like, I think we've become a little complacent with the installers.
Right.
And I think and sort of the finishing touch.
Absolutely. Because, I mean, at the end of the day, you got 2 types of people. You got the type of people that are like, okay, I want the minimalist experience. I don't care about all the flashbang. But the people that do want the unified experience, they do want the flashbang. They do want something that feels like you got a new computer, honestly.
I mean, even if I'm installing the most bare bones, basic Linux distribution, there's lessons they could take from the Deepin installer.
Oh gosh, yes.
I mean, just that alone was like, wow, this.
I mean, even if you're running like a Ubuntu or something.
Yeah.
Like,
and then again, the Deepin Software Center. Yeah. I go back to this.
God.
Like,
so this is what I've been saying about forever. I've been like, why can't we have something that doesn't suck? And Ubuntu Software Center, I like Ubuntu. I love the back end. The Software Center blows hard. It's a bloated mess, and it needs to be fixed.
And I will say this too, we've talked more and more, and there's been a couple of articles just this weekend about MacBook users switching to Linux. This could be a great distribution for them to land on, because you get the dock-like environment, but you get also that really, really high attention to aesthetics that I think a lot of Mac users like, especially those coming from Yosemite.
Yes.
So
yes.
I think,
big time.
Yeah. Check it out. Deepin 2014. Give it a thumbs up. Matt, you giving it a thumbs up?
I would give it a thumbs up.
There you go. Linux Action Show gives it 2 thumbs up for Deepin Linux 2014. And that brings us to the end of this week's broadcast. But, Matt?
Yeah.
Before we get out of here, we got a couple things to follow up on.
Bottom.
I stepped in it, Matt. I started some shenanigans. I don't know what my problem is. Coder Radio 136 last week, I announced I had been noodling around the idea of learning a programming language. And I started off in the direction of Rust or Go.
Oh.
Yeah. And then through the course of the episode, I was talking to Ruby.
Ooh.
So before I go hog wild, before I go deep in to Ruby, I just wanted to have the Linux Action Show's audience's take on this. Go listen to Coder Radio 136. Ruby is not Perl, and help me along the way. Rikai's got a book he wants me to read. It's a comic book, too, so I think I'm going to be able to do it.
Oh, that'd be up my alley, too.
Yeah, I think I can manage
keep up
that
with
one. So, and I'll share my shenanigans as I go along in Coder Radio. Check it out. Coder Radio Mondays, noon Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern, jblive.tv. So, Silvernode wrote in. It's been a while since we've heard from him, and I just wanted to pass along an initiative that he's working on to see if anybody out there would be interested in helping him.
Okay.
He is setting up sort of like a master archive of the Linux Action Show using BitTorrent Sync. And I think he's maybe expanding it beyond just the Linux Action Show as well. But he wants to know if people wanted to help him out a little bit. He's got some scripting he needs to do and things like that. There's a thread in the subreddit if you'd like to jump in. Maybe we can keep it going this time and get it rolling. Yeah. The idea is there's not one canonical spot where you can get all the shows. And so we're going to try to move it and break it up into a way that's consumable by folks that want to be able to get the back catalog and get new episodes as they come out. So I think that could be kind of neat, and we've had a few people ask about it. We're beginning to work on it, and you can get involved with Silvernode. We'll have a link in the feedback segment.
Very, very cool.
Welcome back, Silvernode. Yeah. And then just a quick shout-out to the Builder IDE. The Builder IDE has reached $41,000 of a goal of $30,000 with 9 days left on its Indiegogo campaign. This is a campaign to raise funds for a IDE.
That's really, yes.
Yeah, and
absolutely.
I reached out to the developer over Twitter to see if he'd like to come on Unplugged on Tuesday and talk to us about it.
That would be amazing.
Yeah, he's doing really well.
This needs to happen, you know.
Yeah, very much so. Gnome could use this quite a bit, and it looks like he's definitely reached his goal. He quit his job full time to work on this.
Wow, that's dedication.
Yeah,
wow.
Sharp-eyed viewers might notice I don't have the touchscreen in front of me today. Just this week for the review, I finally got off my butt and I finally reviewed that Dell touchscreen. I decided to just get it done in Tech Talk Today, episode 118. You can touch this. So if you want to hear my thoughts of using the Dell touchscreen with Linux and just in general, go listen to episode 118 of Tech Talk Today. You can touch this. You can also catch Tech Talk Today Tuesday through Friday, 9 a.m. Pacific, noon Eastern, jblive.tv.
My big question is, were there MC Hammer pants involved in this review?
I did do a little dance. There is an overhead. There is an overhead drone cam where I do a little touch dance, and you can indeed touch it.
Oh, good to know.
Hey, Matt.
Yeah.
Where should people follow you throughout the week? See what you're up to.
If you want to get all my articles or just see me eat random objects, head on over to matthartley.com and click See More and subscribe. RSS, email, we got you covered. Facebook, Twitter, Google+, whatever.
Dun, dun, dun.
Absolutely. That's where you find my stuff.
matthartley.com. Bring your own bacon, everybody.
Absolutely.
Of course, you can get more Matt and I in Linux Unplugged on Tuesdays. We'll have a great one this week. We've got a couple of things planned for it. Linux Unplugged episode 76 on Tuesday. Don't forget we have that open Mumble Room.
Yes.
It's our virtual Linux users group. If you ever want to be part of a lug and chew on the chuff of the news of the week, you can do that on Tuesdays in our Mumble Room. We'd love to have you because a lot of smart people out there.
We're always chewing the chuff.
We do, right? That's what we do on that show. Also, last but not least, need more Linux, need more action, need more show every single day. LinuxActionShow.reddit.com all day, every day. Make this show a better show. Submit a story, vote it up or down, submit a comment, give us your insights, maybe a community feedback, engage with the audience, or maybe it's an app pick or runs Linux. LinuxActionShow.reddit.com also fuels Linux Unplugged show. And look, Matt, the top two articles in the subreddit right now.
Of course.
Arch on a MacBook Pro Retina and why some Apple customers run Linux on MacBooks.
Oh, my God.
What was I just saying in the last sentence?
You kind of called that, didn't you?
I did. Just saying.
a little bit.
Maybe they should try out Deepin.
Yeah, maybe so. Might solve their problems.
Yeah. All right, last but not least, join us live Sundays, 10 a.m. Pacific. Go on over to jupiterbroadcasting.com/calendar to get that in your local time zone. And here's the best thing. This party's still going. After Linux Action Show wraps up, we got the faux show coming up, and we got the faux pre-show, which only happens on the live stream. If you don't know about that, then you got to tune in live to catch what that is. And this week's episode of the faux show is going to be hilarious. So it's like you show up for the big show, and you stay, like Linux Action Show ends ends up becoming the pre-show for the
It
full
really
show.
does.
I know.
Yeah, that's awesome, though.
It is. It's good for her. It's good for her. Absolutely. All right, and last but not least, jupiterbroadcasting.com/contact. Send us in your feedback. We'll read it on a future show. Okay, everybody, thanks so much for tuning this week's episode of the Linux Action Show. See you right back here next week. Hello, and welcome to Wait, hold on, I got it.
You need a podium.
No, I got it. Okay. Hello, and welcome to Two Peaks Weekly. My name is Chris.
My name is Matt.
Hi, Matt. You have a really nice tree next to you.
Oh, yeah.
And, of course, as always, I am between two peaks, giving you the latest on what's going on with these wonderful peaks between us. We're excited today. We're really excited.
We are very excited.
Look at that, I'm between two peaks. Look at that.
I know, that's
wobble,
just...
wobble, wobble, wobble.
It's like ping pong.
Okay. Anyways.
More like Brokeback Mountain. Well, his neck is stiff, so I mean, anything's possible. Brokeback, stiff
Just
neck.
a disclaimer, it did not mean that in any appropriate way. I would don't.
Let me give you a good example, and the guy's awesome. I'm not knocking him anyway. We actually correspond. Canadian Matt Hartley, who is honestly has a beard and goatee. He is my evil Spock. He really is. It's good. And it's horrible.
I love Canadian Matt Hartley. I love these stories so much.
Oh my God, it's messed up because it's like he's got all the stuff certified. You know, he's a writer or whatever. He writes for some big thing in Canada. I don't know, whatever. Look at this Canadian thing you don't care about that's happening, Matt. I'm like, I don't fucking care. That's why my thing actually says on an American writer, man. It's like I'm not Canadian.
I've always wondered. I didn't like wonder. I was like, oh, okay, well, he just wants to, brand it or something.
And he's got the goatee. He's got it's like evil Spock. It's the craziest thing.
He does.
It's the weirdest thing.
That is really weird.
It's crazy.
Well,
yeah. And he's a really nice guy. I mean, he.
What would Canadian Chris Fisher be like? Because I have a beard.
Right. Well, that makes you the evil Chris Fisher. In an essence, I mean, right?
You're right. You're right. I must be.
I mean, because one of you has to sacrifice the facial hair.
If I have facial hair, I'm the bad guy.
Yep, that's right. Yep.
Everybody's talking about the way Linus talks again.
Linus is saying things.
Do we care? Do we care?
Unless he's like streaking like Linux festivals or something.
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah. Do we care anymore? I don't know if we care anymore. I mean, not to be rude about it, but like he is who he is, and other people are who they are.
Yeah.
And the thing is
Someone
like
probably does, but not me.
I think too. Like, I think what. So what if Linus is a jerk? What if Linus is an asshole? So what? And if that is the way it is, then you don't work with Linus. Yes, that is a shame that you don't get to work on that thing that you want to work on, but there's a lot of things that I want to work on that I don't get to work on.
Well, he's what is he, Finnish or whatever? Yeah, so
totally different culture.
I've worked with Finns.
Yep.
They can be rather straightforward, but I like the fact they don't sugarcoat anything. So my experience with them, and so I don't really see a problem with it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
well,
that's just
and
me.
I mean, at least in my experience, I have worked in teams where people are very diplomatic and things are, it's very considered every word. And then I've worked in teams where it's very direct, it can get heated. And I'll tell you the truth of the matter, at least in my experience, is the teams where you speak directly to each other and you're very passionate because everybody is really invested and you get sometimes in fights. Those are the teams that pull off amazing things and that I'm always like super enthused to work with. And the teams that are very, honestly, I often lump them into a category of perhaps bureaucratic. Maybe there's more people there focused on the process than the actual work. Often is where that environment is sort of, and it's not necessarily bad. There's some places where that sort of process and environment is necessary for that project. It just doesn't mean it is for the Linux kernel. And I think if you, go back and look at our interview with Greg KH, Greg talks about the scale of just daily code commits to the Linux kernel, right? And there is just a certain unbelievable rawness to the pace of development of the Linux kernel. And I think it's beyond such a scale that there's nothing else that really compares, perhaps in the world, right?
I would say so. Yeah, I can't think of anything specifically.
So, I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but I can't, off the top of my head, I can't think of an open source project that just has the sheer volume of daily activity the Linux kernel does. And perhaps to make that something that can be shipped on systems worldwide in life-critical production systems, perhaps it takes a bit of somebody at the top of that structure that's willing to make some noise sometimes because of what's on the line, right? Because what they're building is Linux, and Linux is like, it's critical to maybe trillions of dollars of money in the economy, to life-saving systems. I mean, to servers and services all over the web. So gosh, you look at the scale of development, you think maybe that is, for the type of people that we are, maybe that's how that type of structure works best for that kind of project. There's other projects where maybe that kind of structure isn't appropriate, and those are the kind of projects where people that have an issue should join.
Well, and I think that at the end of the day, does he behave in a way that I would act? No, it's not really my style. At the same time, though, it's his sandbox, and if he wants to be a dick, he's gonna be a dick, and you don't like it, get out.
Yeah,
and I'm sorry,
like,
but that's just what it is.
There's a really good, argument right here in the subreddit on the tone of policy in Linus Torvalds, or Linus Torvalds is a shit-eating pig.
Well, why don't they tell us how they
first
really feel?
First sentence, Linus Torvalds is a shit-eating pig. And then he goes on to talk about why Linus's aggressive tone is inappropriate. I thought that was kind of ironic.
And the touchy-feely, hand-jobby society.
No, I mean,
it's such whiny crap.
Look, I guess here's what I feel like. I feel like there should be room for people that feel like it's inappropriate, and I feel like there should be room for people that feel it's appropriate. And each is fine.
I do. It's just it's the wussification of the world. I feel like it's like, there are people out there that are really jerks. I mean, they're just rude. And you can choose to participate in that circle of crap, or you can choose not to. And I don't mean like in the project. I mean like in how you deal with someone, being this way. In his defense, yeah, he's dealing with people who probably are doing the same mistakes over and over and over, probably different people. But over time, you get pretty crunchy. I get very crunchy. When I get pissed off, I'm not real sensitive.
I don't want to repeat myself anymore.
I don't care, And I've been known to blow up on a mailing list or two. So, hey.
So that's not in the news, but there you go.
There you go.
We're not talking about that.